Welcome to Biology Made Easy. In this lesson, we are discussing ultrafiltration. We want to outline the process. So here we have a renal corpuscle, we have the afferent arteriole, and the efferent arteriole is here. This is the glomerular filtrate. The afferent arteriole sends blood of pressure 55 millimeters of mercury to 60 millimeters of mercury into the glomerulus, and at the area of the glomerulus near the afferent arteriole, that is this area, the hydrostatic pressure in the glomerulus is higher than the hydrostatic pressure in the glomerular filtrate, and the hydrostatic pressure is influenced or determined by water potential, solute potential. So the hydrostatic pressure or blood pressure being high in this region means that water potential is high, and when water potential is high, it's less negative in value, and solute potential is also high. It means it's also less negative in value. Solute potential being high means it's a dilute solution, and hydrostatic pressure being higher in the glomerulus than in the glomerular filtrate means that substances will filter from the glomerulus into the glomerular filtrate, even though other substances will also try to filter back. This we explained in our lesson that you need to check. So substances will filter from the glomerulus, the capillaries, into the glomerular filtrate. And substances like water, you have all glucose, all amino acids, all vitamins, about 80% of electrolytes like sodium, potassium, chloride, etc. And also about 50% waste like urea, uric acid, creatinine, and then some hormones. These substances move from the glomerulus through pores. We discussed yesterday the pores, fenestrae, clefts, slits. We discussed these, check the lesson. So they filter through pores into the glomerular filtrate. Now, as the blood in the glomerulus moves, as the blood gets near the efferent arteriole, that is this area, which I call venule part of the glomerulus, as the blood gets here, the hydrostatic pressure in the glomerulus becomes lower, but not as low as the hydrostatic pressure in the glomerular filtrate. So, if we are using this to show the hydrostatic pressure is higher here at the beginning, so the hydrostatic pressure is low here. So, substances will still move into the glomerular filtrate, and then the hydrostatic pressure in the glomerular filtrate is also there. And the resultant will be moving substances in here. But as we said, at this end, near the efferent arteriole, the hydrostatic pressure becomes smaller. So when the blood gets to the area of the glomerulus near the efferent arteriole, the hydrostatic pressure becomes lower here, and that means water potential is also lower, and so it has more negative value, water potential, because water has been lost when it was in the arterial area here. And then solute potential is also lower because the solution in the blood becomes more concentrated, and more concentrated solution means more negative values. And then in this same area, the colloid osmotic pressure is very high because water was lost from the glomerulus. Water is lost in this area, that is the area near the afferent arteriole, and so the blood becomes more concentrated, and the colloid osmotic pressure is high because even though the solution becomes more concentrated because water is lost, the colloid in the blood does not filter out. So the colloid, that is the blood proteins, they remain in the blood and cause the pressure of the colloids to become very high. And so because the colloid osmotic pressure is high, there's a tendency of water to be pulled from the glomerular filtrate into the blood because of the high colloid osmotic pressure. And so the colloid osmotic pressure is the force that resists filtration. It will want to take water back into the glomerulus. This is the pressure that resists filtration. So when the hydrostatic pressure falls and the colloid osmotic pressure is high, the fifth point is what happens. The afferent arteriole dilates to let more blood flow in, to increase the blood pressure, to make sure that ultrafiltration goes on. So you have the afferent arteriole dilating to bring in more blood, and then the efferent arteriole can also constrict to reduce the amount of blood that is flowing out. And so then the pressure in the glomerulus is maintained at the level that will sustain filtration, so that filtration will go on to remove waste. And also the blood pressure will be maintained so that the blood capillaries does not collapse or no too much pressure to burst the blood capillaries. Please, let's note that the direction of flow of filtrate is always a resultant between the direction of flow from the glomerulus and the direction of flow from the capsule into the glomerulus. And it's hydrostatic pressure pushing substances into the capsule and pressure pushing substances out of the capsule into the glomerulus. And it's always the pushing of substances from the glomerulus into the capsule that is positive, wins. But the rate at which the substances are being pushed into the glomerular filtrate should be maintained at a certain normal. So we have glomerular filtration rate to be normal should be about 100 to 130 millimeters per minute per 1.73 square meters in adult. The afferent arteriole and the efferent arteriole, they are either dilation or constricting. Make sure that the blood pressure is maintained so that the glomerular filtration rate is normal. So this is what we have for this lesson. If the lesson has been useful, give us your thumbs. Thank you very much. Goodbye.